Hey guys, I'm about to go live. So we're going to get ready in just a minute. I'm just going to back up here and we'll get started. All right. Hi and welcome everybody. I am Jessica and this is Yoga for Beginners and I am doing a live 1 hour intermediate vinyasa flow. So you are not going to need any props for this class, but I always do recommend having 2 yoga blocks and a yoga strap handy so that you can use them whenever you need to. So if you don't have those, you can use 2 sturdy books and you can use a belt or a scarf or even a dog leash. So, but anyway, we're going to get started. Let me just fix this camera angle here real quick, guys. Sorry, I'm live, so I didn't really get a chance to get everything all set up. But yeah, so... Now, like I said, it is intermediate, so I do recommend that you have some yoga experience. We are going to be doing vinyasa flow, so we are going to be doing vinyasas and chaturangas. So if you are not familiar with those, go ahead and go back to some of my beginner classes and you'll love those. So let's get started. All right, we are going to just begin on our backs. So go ahead, lie down. Roll your shoulders underneath of you and just bend your knees, soles of the feet on the ground, and just relax. Taking a few seconds here to become aware of your breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth to begin. Just kind of clearing everything out. One more, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Excellent. Now we'll begin to breathe with our Ujjayi Pranayama, breathing in and out of the nose with the lips sealed. That slight constriction of the throat. Excellent. Let's just hug the right knee into the chest. Give it a nice squeeze. And then arms down by your sides. I want you to make some big circles with that right leg. Just really feeling the hip joint. Feel, if there's any popping or any cracking sensations in there. Just kind of loosen that hip up. And then we're going to go the other direction. So I really like to just start all of my practices with a little bit of mobility just to lubricate the joints. Good. One more time in that direction. And then place the foot back on the ground. And we'll take the left knee, give it a nice big squeeze. And then we're going to let it go and just do some giant circles here. And then we'll go back the other direction. One more here. Perfect. Bring the foot down to the ground and you're going to hug your knees into your chest and rock up to your hands and knees. Come onto a tabletop position, palms down, engaging Hasta Bandha, fingers spread nice and wide. As you inhale, pull your knee into your chest, and as you exhale, extend that leg out behind you. Lift, 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 lift up through the chest, lift up through the legs. And then we're going to take that foot, drop it down, come onto the inner arch of that foot and reach your right hand, your top arm, straight up toward the sky, lifting and opening. Good. And we'll kind of bring a back bend into this for stargazer pose. So you're looking up towards the sky. Squeeze your shoulders together. Just lift the heart. And then exhale. Bring the hand down on the ground. Drop down to the right knee. Inhale the left leg up, lift, 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 lift through the heart, reach through the fingers, reach through the toes. And exhale, bring the knee into the chest. And then extend the leg back out, drop onto the inner edge of the left foot as you reach the right arm up toward the sky. Good. We're going to bring our back bend into this. So squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the heart, drop the head back, and reach. So we're just starting our practice, so it's not going to be a huge back bend, but I just want to kind of open up the heart. Exhale, bring the hands down to the ground. Come back onto your hands and knees. And let's just do some cat-cows. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, round. So just do this a few times at your own pace, making sure that your knees are hip width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. Good. And you can even kind of move forward with this and move back, kind of undulating through the spine, just taking whatever the body needs here. Go at your own pace, work with your breath. Nice. And we'll come back to center. Tuck the toes under, press into the hands, lift the hips up and back. And we're just going to hover here for a second. So we're in our turbo dog. We're going to just pull some core activity into this. So knees, you see I started way up here. I should have come down here right away. Knees are just hovering above the mat, really waking the thighs up. And then we're going to come up into downward facing dog. Hips lifting up toward the sky. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Try to get them out of your ears. And just take a few breaths. Really just opening up through the front of the body by squeezing the shoulder blades together. I really want you to feel like you're stretching your armpits here. So you're going to look down towards your toes. You can even look at your navel if you want to. And then as you exhale, let's come up onto your toes, bend the knees, and just take a few steps coming up to your forward fold, Uttanasana at the front of the mat. Good. So first forward fold of the class might be a little stiff. That's okay. Don't push it too far. Bend your knees if you need to. Lift your tailbone up. So really, really kind of keep that cow pose in mind, where you're arching your back here with your hips. This is the way to protect your hips in this pose. Protect your lower back in this pose. Hips are stacked right over top of the heels. So sometimes I have the tendency to be back here like this. See how my hips are way back here. My weight is in my heels. I want to shift forward, press the weight down into my toe mounds, and that's going to kind of equal out the balance in this pose. Good. And then we're going to lift up halfway, roll the shoulders back, pull the belly in. Hands can be at your shins or they can be on the ground if you can keep your back flat. So we're going to come up to stand with our back in this same position. Lift the head. Do not roll up one vertebrae at a time. We're using our core muscles to lift. Sweep the arms out wide, press into the feet, rise all the way up to high mountain pose, palms together overhead, look up, lift up, reach up, get tall, root down with your feet, and then exhale, hands to heart for Samastitahi. It's just our equal resting pose. Just ground yourself here. Sorry, I gotta adjust my mic so it's live, so gotta do all the adjustments that I need to do. Bring the palms back together in front of the heart. Good. Notice if you're kind of tucking your tailbone under here and standing with your hips forward, or notice if you're sticking your butt out behind you. See if you can kind of bring equilibrium into this. Stack your hips right over top of your heels, stack your shoulders right over top of your hips. So I know a lot of us kind of round forward. I want you to roll the shoulders back and down. Give yourself some good posture here. Pull the belly in really, really nice and tight. Great. Inhale, arms up, and we start with our sun salutations. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, going right to sun salutation A. Hands to the ground. This time we're just going to step back to a plank, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. So we're going right into it. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths here. Do yourself a favor and make sure that you are breathing completely in and exhaling completely out with each breath. Nice. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, walk or float the feet up to the front of the mat. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, hands at the shins or hands at the ground. Back is flat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. High mountain. Exhale, hands at the heart. Inhale, sun salutation A, number 2. Arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. If you're going to go back into plank, step back into plank. Don't jump back into the plank. It jars your shoulders. If you're going to jump back into chaturanga. Press the hands into the ground. Lift the heels and jump. Inhale, upward facing dog. Pull the heart forward. Linger here for a second. Notice how your body feels in this pose. I always end up with my hands way too close together here, so I like to open them up, pull the chest forward, feel the heart lifting so I don't jar my lower back. And then exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. One more breath here. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, walk or float the feet up to the front of the mat. Come to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart. Good. We're going to move on to sun salutation B. Inhale, arms up, palms together. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms up, chair pose. Look down, make sure that you can see your toes. If you can't, press your hips back in space. Look forward, shoulders out of your ears. Arms can be shoulder width or even a little bit wider. Exhale, fold forward. Moving through your vinyasa so you can jump back to plank or step back to chaturanga. Press the hands into the ground. Exhale, come back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Feet together at the back of the mat. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step the right foot up in between the hands. Try not to pound that foot down on the ground. Use your core to lift. If the foot doesn't make it all the way up there, grab the foot and move it forward. Drop the back heel down, toes pointed out 45 degrees. Inhale, reach the arms high, warrior one. Breath in, breath out. Hands come down, step back, plank, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Feet together at the back of the mat as you inhale, left leg high. Exhale, lightly step that foot up in between the hands. Left foot should be on the left side of the mat. Right heel drops down, right toes pointing out 45 degrees. Arms high. Hips facing as forward as you can get them. Breath in, breath out. Hands fall to the earth. Step back. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Lift the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. So your downward facing dog is your resting pose. And if you're not quite at that point yet where you're in a resting pose, in downward facing dog, you can always take child's pose as your resting pose. But downward facing dog is somewhere that you can always return whenever you need to. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, root into the hands. Step or hop your feet up to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees. Reach the arms up, chair pose, sit back, look down, make sure you can see your toes, and then look forward. Belly pulled in nice and tight. Good. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart. We're only doing one sun salutation A. Or sun salutation B, I mean. Well, we did two sunset. Anyway, I'm just going to stop talking about that. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale. We are coming into chair pose again, though. However, hips go back, back, back. Arms reach forward, forward, forward. If you want to add a little bit more of a challenge to it, lift onto your heels. Lift onto your toes. Squeeze your heels together. Maybe sit a little bit deeper. Good. Exhale. Feet to the ground. Bring the hands together in front of the heart. If you want to stay here, or we can twist to the right, taking your left elbow to the outside of the right knee. So see what I did there, how I pushed my elbow into my knee? Don't do that. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to Lift the heart as you squeeze the shoulders back, and that's naturally going to deepen this twist. But if you're pushing into your knee to try to open up a little bit deeper into your twist, you run the risk of popping a rib. So please be careful with that. Chances are, if it's hard for you to breathe, your breathing is labored, then you are a little too deep into the pose. So back out if you need to. Nice. You want to open your arms, open your arms. If you have a side crow in your practice, come into side crow. Really tuck those elbows underneath of you. Get really, really small into this tiny little ball, and then lift the feet off of the ground and breathe. Good. Feet to the ground, back into your twisted chair. Arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Nice. All right. Recenter yourself on the mat if you went askew. Separate your feet about hip width distance apart. Grab big toes with your peace fingers. Yogi toe lock. Exhale, coming into our Padottanasana. Just fold forward. Using your abdominal muscles to pull you down instead of your bicep muscles. Come way forward onto your toe mounds. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, refold. Nice. Inhale, release. Bring the feet back together. Bend the knees. Coming back into your chair pose. So same thing on the left side here. Hands together in front of the heart. I'm actually going to face you guys so I can see you and you can see me. And we're going to tuck the right elbow into the outside of the left thigh. Palms together in front of the heart. Squeeze the shoulders together. If you find that your hands are at armpit center, untwist a little bit. That's always acceptable. Squeeze the knees together. All right, so your options here, stay here. You can open the hands, or you can come down into your side crow. If you're not familiar with side crow and you want to try it out, you're going to try to get yourself into this tiny little ball. Your back elbow, you're going to tuck it underneath of your back hip. So if that elbow is tucked under your hip, you can kind of rest your weight there, and that's going to keep you elevated in this pose. So press the hands down, and then you're just going to lean over. I like to lift my bottom foot and then my top foot. Squeeze the knees in towards your chest. Good. Come down. Beautiful. Back into chair pose. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. This time we're going to come down into a plank. Take a breath here. Tuck your tailbone. Pull your belly button into your spine. Squeeze your thighs. Squeeze your glutes. Good. We're going to take the left hand to the middle of the mat. Roll onto the outer edge of the left foot. Reach the right arm high, coming into a side plank. Look up toward the sky for a little bit more of a balance challenge, or you can look to the side or look down. Good. Set the right hand back on the ground. We're just going to come over onto the left side. Right hand to the middle of the mat, out onto the outer edge of the right foot. Left arm reaches high. Lift the hips up, up, up. Squeezing with your right obliques. Exhale, hands down. Downward facing dog. Nice. Inhale, both feet to the center of the mat, feet touching. Right leg reaches up. Exhale, knee to nose and step the right foot up in between the hands. Coming into a high lunge, we're going to try to not fall over on your mat. You're going to have this knee stacked right over top of the right ankle as you reach your arms up toward the sky. Gaze forward, roll the shoulders back and down, lift the heart, but pull the belly in. Now, your back heel, it's easy to press back into that heel. I want you to bring it forward so that your heel is stacked over top of your toes. Now, it's going to bring you forward a little bit. I want you to tuck your tailbone and then press that back leg really, really straight. It's going to really intensify the pose, and you'll feel it a lot more in the belly of your psoas muscle, the front of your left hip. You'll feel it really deep there. Good. Bring your hands together in front of your heart, and then we're going to start to press into the front foot. I'm going to come back a little bit on my mat here so you can see me in the frame. You're going to lean forward and start to come up into Dakasana, which is airplane pose. Roll the left hip down. Now you can take this into Warrior 3 by lifting the heart and reaching the arms forward. So there is a little bit of a back bend here in your Warrior 3. So you want to keep your gaze in front of you, not looking down to the ground for standing stick pose. One more breath here. And then slowly lower this left foot down again. And we're going to come into our Warrior 2. So you're just going to open up your back foot so that it's facing the side of the mat. Right heel is pointing to the arch of the back foot. Arms out wide. Good. So see how I'm leaning forward here? I see this a lot in Warrior 2. So problem here, front knee is overbent, so it's pressing into my knee. Pull back so the knee is stacked over top of the ankle. And upper body is going to come back a little bit so that the crown of the head is stacked right over top of the tailbone. So if I'm here, I'm not really using this muscle as much as I could. So I want to come up, make sure there's a little crease right here on that back leg. Arms are going to come out, flip the right palm, exhale, reverse the warrior. Reach that right arm up and back. Stay true to the bend in the right knee. If you want to keep this left hand on the back leg, you can do that, or reach it around towards the front thigh. And try not to bend back here. We're bending into the side body, not the back body. Press into the outer edge of the back foot. Nice. Inhale. Come back out into Warrior 2. We're going to lift up off of that back foot a little bit and start to come forward into half moon. So right hand is going to come out past the pinky edge of the right foot. Left hand can remain on the left hip, or you can reach that left arm high. Try to squeeze right through here to lift that leg. Reach through the toes or through the heel, whichever works for you. Good. If you have poet's pose in your practice, you can, I don't know if I can do it right now. My balance is not good today. But if you have poet's pose, you're lifting the bottom hand, bringing it to half Anjali Mudra at the heart. Good. Let's bring the hand down. Come back into Warrior 2. And we're going to come right back into our crescent pose. Hands down. Drop the back knee to the ground. Point the toes. Good. All right. So now we're going to open up the hips a little bit more here. Hands to the front thigh. As you lift the heart, lift the head, roll the shoulders back. Whenever I say that, it reminds me, I don't know if you have ever seen that old Bush baked beans commercial where that golden retriever says, roll that beautiful bean footage. I am really dating myself here. I'm sounding ridiculous, but anyway, that's what's going through my mind. I really wish I hadn't just told that story, but oh well, what are you going to do? Okay, so I'm giving you something else to think about other than the intensity of this pose, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, left hand comes down to the ground, right arm reaches up toward the sky. Stay here or bend that back knee. Maybe reach back and grab that foot. Yes, send the hips forward, lift the heart, and bring that foot towards your butt. You can even drop onto the outer edge of that right foot. Lots of fun things that you can do in this pose. You could even, if you've got the flexibility, take the arm underneath, grab the foot, come down onto your left elbow, and I don't even know what this is just a lizard pose variation. But I find that it's fun. All right. Let go of the foot, bring the hand down, and we're going to come back into a 3-pointed plank. So one leg lifted, lower down chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog, exhale. Let's come to child's pose, right? Sounds good. Collect yourself, collect your thoughts, collect your breath. Collect $200 for passing go. Wouldn't that be nice? All right. Pop yourself back up into downward facing dog. Lift the hips. Stretch the armpits. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, walk or float the feet up to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Take a breath here. Inhale, rise all the way up. High mountain pose, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart. Side 2. Arms up, high mountain. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, this time we're going to step back to plank. Go through your vinyasa. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Feet together at the back of the mat. Left leg high. Exhale, step your left foot up in between your hands. Let it land softly. Don't pound it down there. Rise up into your crescent pose. High lunge. Here we are again in this pose. Gaze is forward, or maybe you want to look up for a little bit more of a balance challenge. Tuck the tailbone, pull the back heel forward, keep that back leg straight. So once you tuck the tailbone, the back knee wants to bend, right? So keep the tailbone tucked and then press that leg really straight. And wow, that ups the intensity, right? Whew, but it feels good. All right, hands to the heart. Look forward. Then we're going to start to lean forward, rise up into Dakasana, airplane pose. Make sure that that right hip isn't lifted like this. Bring it down so that it's in line with the left hip. Stay here, gaze forward, or arms out for airplane wings. Keep gazing forward, or fullest expression of the pose. Warrior 3, back bend, lift the heart. Using your back muscles, really, really squeezing them nice and tight. Ooh. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Ujjayi pranayama. Nice. Bend the front knee. Coming down, crescent pose. Nice. And then we open up to warrior 2. All right. Back heel, you're pressing down into the outer edge of that back foot. The front heel is pointing directly to the arch of the back foot. And so remember, this is the tendency for a lot of us. This is what I see a lot. But if that happens, good news. You have more flexibility. So get that front foot way out there. You want your front knee stacked right over top of the ankle. So in your warrior 2, see how wide my feet are? Over time, you want to develop the flexibility in your hips so that your feet are right underneath of your hands. So that's a pretty wide stance. Squeeze the left butt cheek, squeeze the right butt cheek, and that's going to open up through the groin muscles, looking out over that front hand. Good. Inhale, reverse warrior. Front arm reaches up and back. Back hand towards the back leg, or wrap it behind you to reach it towards the front leg. You can look down, you can look up, whatever floats your boat here. Good. Inhale, back into warrior 2. See what I did there? I just went like this. Warrior 2, crown of the head stacked over top of the hips. All right, so now we're gonna start to lean forward. Bring the weight out of the back foot. We're gonna come into our half moon pose. So front hand comes to the pinky toe edge of that front foot. Lift the top leg, lift the top arm if it feels good to you. Looking out to the side or looking down to the floor are easiest for balance. If you're looking up toward the sky, you're challenging your balance a little bit more. If you have poet's pose, go ahead and lift that bottom hand, bringing it to half namaste. Ooh, I don't have balance pose. I don't have, what the heck is it called? Poet's pose. Thank you. I just had a brain fart. I didn't have poet's pose on this side, but that's okay. Nice. Bend the front knee. Drop it back down into warrior two. Good. And then we're going to come forward into our crescent lunge again, dropping down to the old back knee. Point the back toes. All right. Hands can be at the heart. This is the heart, or the hips, or on the thigh. Tuck the tailbone, lift the heart, pull the belly in. Get deep into those hips. Deep, deep, deep. Now, it's okay here if your front knee goes past the ankle because you're on the ground, you've got the back leg for support, so it's not going to do much damage to that front knee at all. It's not really an issue here. Great. Take the right hand down, the left arm high, stay here, or reach the hand back, bend the back knee, and pull that back foot towards your right buttock. And then you can take your variation here if you want. And that would be staying here or tucking the left arm underneath of that left leg and grabbing the foot here so you're twisted. Oh, and then coming down onto your right elbow. I'm not going to do that on this side. I'm just going to stay here. Have a little bit of tightness in my right front thigh. Don't know what that's all about, but I'm not going to push it. Hold it here for another breath or two. Good, and then release the foot down. Both hands to the ground, tuck the right toes under, fly that left leg, coming into your one-legged plank, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, child's pose. Take a break. Just give your body a second to rest. Nice. All right, we're going to come back into downward facing dog. Feet together at the back of the mat. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step your left foot up in between your hands. And we're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So you're turning both feet to the side of the mat and keep the chest lifted. Coming into this halfway fold first, just to make sure that our hips are not rounded, our tailbone's not tucked here. If you have blocks, you want to use blocks to lift yourself up a little bit higher, go ahead and do this. This is perfectly appropriate for this pose to keep you from putting your spine at risk here. All right, so anyway, feet are pigeon-toed, but if you have sciatica issues, turn your toes out about 45 degrees. All right, and then you can come down onto your elbows, or you can bring your hands underneath of you. Bring the weight forward into your toe mounds. So you don't want to come back onto your heels for this pose. If you have a supported headstand in your practice, go ahead and come into your headstand by interlacing your hands together, turning the palms to face up, and you're going to just press your head into your hands, coming up onto your toes, and you're going to press your legs out, out, out. So it's not about pressing them up. It's about getting your hips to lift up, pressing your toes out wide. And then when your hips are stacked over top of your shoulders, then you'll bring the legs straight up. Keep the tailbone slightly tucked here. Pull the belly in really tight. Good. And then we're going to reach the legs out wide, pivot the hips, and then slowly try to land the feet. Excellent. Coming back into our wide leg forward fold. Good. Bring your hands to your hips. Adjust clothing as needed. And we'll come back up into our 5-pointed star. So we can take our arms up really nice and high. And then you're going to turn your right toes to face forward. You're going to turn your left toes to face the left side of the mat. Bend the left knee, and we come into a warrior 2 pose here. So now we're going to come into a side angle. So you can start by having the left elbow on top of the left knee, or you can bring the hand down to the ground and bring your top hand up. Now, if you feel like you're kind of rounding forward like this, don't put your hand on the ground. It's not necessary to do that. Feel like you're pressing yourself into an imaginary wall that's behind you. Hands, shoulders, hips, feet should all be pressing into that wall back there. Yeah. All right. So if you have a bind in your practice, go ahead and come into a bind. And if bird of paradise is in your practice, let's pop into that too. So if you have your bind, step your back foot forward so that your back foot comes directly underneath of your hips. Lift up onto your front heel and lift up with the breath. Don't give yourself time to think yourself out of it. Shoulders back and down. Maybe you lift the left leg up. Ooh, I'm not doing that right now. All right, take as much time as you need there, and then return back into your side angle pose. Nice. Inhale, come back up to warrior 2, and we'll switch sides. So turn the left foot to face forward, right foot to face out to the side, and bend into that right knee. Great. We're going to come into our side angle here. So you lean forward, take your right elbow to the top of the right thigh or to the floor. Press yourself into that imaginary wall. Good. And I'm actually going to turn around here and show you guys the bind process. Okay, so a lot of people have trouble with the bind. So if you do, you're going to take this top hand. You're not going to drop it down and reach back. I want you to turn your palm to face behind you, bend that elbow all the way. Your hand should be right underneath of your shoulder blade, and then slide it down your back. If you're over here, you have a lot more space to cover. If you're here, then your hands are a lot closer to begin with. So you're going to reach down, your bottom hand grabs the top hand and pulls you down. So you don't want to pull up with the hands, you want to pull down. Good. And then you're going to take the back foot forward, come up onto your front toes, breathe yourself up. Good. Keep looking straight out in front of you, find a drishti, and then maybe straighten that leg. But that's not happening for me today, so it's all good. But stay there if you want to for as long as you want, or come back into your side angle pose. Good. When you're ready, come on down, and we'll come back up into our 5-pointed star, hands to the hips. Good, and we're gonna turn to face the front of the mat and just come down to a forward fold. Excellent, ladies and gentlemen. From here, lift halfway. One final vinyasa, hands to the ground. Exhale, lift the heels, jump back to chaturanga or step back to plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, child's pose. Stretch your arms forward. And we'll come up to a seat. All right, so you're gonna come down into Sukhasana and then Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Sitting up nice and tall. If you feel like you're rounding your back here, bring your hands down behind you. Press into the outer edge of your feet. So as you do that, you're going to notice that it's going to engage the outer thigh muscles and your knees are going to go, they're going to go down. So as you do that, you create more flexibility on the inner thigh that we're trying to open. So these are your hip adductor muscles on the inner thigh that we're trying to open here. Your hip abductor muscles are on the outer thigh, and that's what's contracting. So if you feel good, you can bring your hands to your feet, thumbs to the insides of your big toe side of the foot. Roll the shoulders down and back. Lean forward, chest lifted, elbows tucked into the side of the body. So you don't want to round your back here. Look forward. And then start to rise up. We're going to take the feet out wide. We're going to come into our Upavishta Konasana, our seated wide-legged fold. Okay, so this pose I know a lot of people hate, but yeah, I love this pose. Okay, so interesting thing here. If you have sacral chakra issues, you are going to have tight hips. So your sacral chakra governs your sexuality, your creativity, your feelings of pleasure, and your senses. So if you have issues in those areas, chances are that this pose might be difficult for you. So take it easy. Get yourself into a modification of this pose where you can stay for a few minutes because we're going to be here for a few minutes. Okay, so toes are pointing straight up toward the sky. You can keep your hands back here if you want to, or you can bring your hands in front of you. Maybe you want to sway side to side here, opening up all the different facets of the muscle. Nice. Good. And then we'll come back to center and then just walk the elbows down to the ground. Maybe you bring your hands out in front of you. If you have a block, maybe you want to place a block underneath of your head and you can just rest here. If you can come all the way down into a pancake, go ahead and do that. But just come to where you can stay for a while. This isn't the most gigantic stretch of your life. This is just a stretch that you're going to maintain for a little while. So just relax and breathe. You can close your eyes here. And just bring your awareness to that sacral chakra. So your sacral chakra is about 3 to 4 inches below your belly button and kind of on the middle of the body, halfway in between the front and the back. It's orange. And just visualize it as a spinning vortex of energy there. So if you're tight here, your spinning vortex of energy is probably a little bit less orange. Maybe it's not spinning quite as fast. So I want you to visualize that place, that vortex, becoming a bright, vibrant orange, a beautiful color. And then visualize it spinning and spinning stronger and spinning more intensely, opening up and widening as it spins. Feel the tension melting as it's spinning, as it's clearing out the blockages around it. As it spins, it's breaking through the barriers, holding you tight. We're going to take just another 3 breaths here. Last breath, and we start to walk our Hands back. Take the hands to the outsides of the legs. Gently bring them in. Maybe give them a shake. It's really, I know for me at least, when I am finished doing that pose and I bring my legs in, I feel like I'm like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. Like everything is so tight. All right. So now we're going to take the left leg out to the side, bring the right foot to the inside of the thigh, and then you're going to reach the left hand out towards that left foot. Maybe it reaches the foot, maybe it doesn't, maybe it reaches the leg. That's totally fine. So I want you to feel like you're spinning this top shoulder up and back as you take this top arm and reach it over toward the foot. Maybe it grabs onto the foot. If it does, try not to bring the arm forward in front of the face like this. You want to spiral yourself up to face the ceiling. Good. Start to look towards the foot and maybe turn the upper body to face the foot. Keep the toes pointed up. And then we'll start to walk the hands back. All right, switch sides. Taking your left foot to the inner thigh, taking your right foot out to the side. Nice. Set yourself up here and take that right arm out towards the right foot. Maybe you grab the foot, maybe you grab the leg. So I didn't say on the other side, but if you have a strap here, this is a nice place to use it. Put it on the foot, grab onto the strap, and maybe rotate the upper body up like this. So if you can reach that foot, spiral the heart open. So this is really good to stretch the quadratus lumborum, this muscle right here. That's like our osteoarthritis muscle. If you have strong back muscles, they kind of work as guy wires to pull the spine straight. So a lot of us, when we get older, we start to kind of hunch forward, and that's because of weak back muscles. So strengthen those muscles, stretch those muscles, and they'll be your friends as you get older. All right, now we're gonna release, look toward the foot. And then come back up. Take those legs and just bring them out nice and straight. We're gonna lie down onto our backs, but before we do, we'll just pop into a little boat pose. Okay, boat pose. We're gonna take our legs so that they are parallel to the floor. Hands are going to be parallel to the mat, or you can straighten everything, lift the heart, point through the toes, or flex the feet. Good, breathe, breathe, breathe. Holding it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lie down. You earned it. Take your arms, stretch them out overhead. Give yourself a good long stretch. And hug the right knee into the chest. Bend the left leg. Take this right ankle, place it on top of the left knee. So you can stay here, or you can lift that bottom foot off of the ground, reach in between the legs with the right hand. You can grab the front of your left shin or the back of your left thigh, or you can just do that and keep your arms down by the ground. Whatever feels good to you. All right, so if you don't have your arms out to a T, bring them out to a T, and you're just gonna keep your legs exactly as they are, but drop them over to the left, And just stretch out the right side of the body. Let this top knee just kind of drop away from you. Just staying here for a quick second. And then come back to center. Switch legs. Right foot goes down, left ankle to the top of the right thigh, and do whatever you want on this side, whether you want to keep the foot here on the ground or lift the legs, grab the thigh or grab the calf or the shin. All right, so we're going to take the arms out wide, bring the right foot to the ground, and drop the legs exactly as they are over to the right, looking out past your left arm. Let this left knee drop away from you. Nice, bring it back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest one more time. And then extend the legs out to the ground for your Shavasana. Squeeze the shoulder blades underneath of you to kind of pad your back. Arms are going to come out just by your sides. Let your feet splay out wide. Close your eyes and just feel yourself melting down into your mat. Feel your body relaxing. Shrug your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your jaws. Let go of the tension in between your eyes and on your forehead. Just take a few moments here of rest. So you'll lie down and I will sit up, keeping eye on the clock so you don't have to. I'll give you about 3 minutes here. And after the 3 minutes, I will guide you out gently. So enjoy your Shavasana, eyes closed, relax. Begin to bring your awareness back into your body, bringing it to the surface of your skin, feeling the air touching you, feeling the ground beneath you. Once again, coming back to the present. Bring movement into the fingers and toes and into your ankles and your wrists, all the way up your legs and arms. And finally, arms overhead. Deep breath in. As you exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice big squeeze. And then rock over onto your right side into a fetal pose. Take a moment here just to rest, coming back to life. And when you're ready, rise back up to a comfortable seated position on your mat, whether that's easy pose or hero's pose, whatever that is for you. And I invite you to bring your hands together and bow your head in a gesture to remind us of the connection between mind and body. Please go from here tonight with peace and inner strength. I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the place in you of love, of light, of peace, of truth. When you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me, we are one. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you enjoyed. I am so grateful that you were here. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. The more subscribers I get, the easier it is for me to offer these live classes. And hit that bell notification button next to the subscribe button so that you can be notified when I go live and when I post new content. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you next week on your mat. Namaste.